So he started speaking about normal things, how Germans are better than other people. He started with that. Now, if the government of German would have, if it stopped him before he had the power to be the president, he wouldn't become the president of Germany. He wouldn't cause the Second World War. He wouldn't kill 6 million Jews at the Holocaust. When we're talking about this number of deaths, don't talk to me about freedom of speech, because these are not just statistics. These are real lives that really matter. So, yeah, our restriction, actually, we read that we are trying to protect the freedom of speech by restricting it to give the people the chance to not be insulted or not to have potential physical harmful. So, yeah, we have to consider that laws should protect people's lives rather than just the concept of freedom of speech. Thank you.
Hi everyone. In this debate, as you said, we are defending protecting freedom of speech. Okay, as my friend mentioned, how to say it? People won't be insulting others based on their religions, nationalities, or looks too, because the insulted person or people or nation too have the right to sue the other side. For example, if someone is, what happened with Donald Trump on the Muslim side, it's more about political side more than it's freedom of speech. Okay, so he said something about Hitler. Actually, Hitler is outside the US, so we're not debating that. Well, the second point Altman talked about is eliminate corruptions. Corruptions mostly happen in the dictatorial governments. And what they do is they know nobody gonna oppose them and be against their decisions. So everybody is mandatory to do everything they said, and they tell them like exactly like a children, not like adults. What else? Yes. What happened in these governments is they also built something, because nobody can talk and no one can express himself. So what they do is they build more, like, so in some countries they also segregate people, and because of no freedom of speech and nobody can explain to the other side what they think. So none of them know anything of each other. So they just fight each other with no reason. Lastly is, actually it's referred to what I just said, which is if you don't have freedom of speech, actually you don't have the right to express yourself in your country, something that related to you. Government can change tomorrow or whatever, but country is gonna stay and the nation gonna stay. So it's much more important to understand the people you live with. With no freedom of speech, you cannot understand what type of people you live with. And to sum up, in our perspective, freedom of speech is right for a human being. Nations should be dominant, also under control, not the government. Freedom of speech do not be under control. I mean, free people do not be under control. And freedom of speech will be help to build strong and coherent nation. Thank you.
All right, it's time for questions from the audience. So please ask your questions if you have any questions. Any questions?
Yeah,
Go ahead. Which side would you like to ask the question
I'd
from?
like to ask on the right side. So, yeah.
So arguing for, arguing for the restrictions on freedom of speech.
So, I just want to ask, why did you choose to bring up Adolf Hitler as an example? Because personally, I think that your example didn't really support your argument. It had nothing to do with freedom of speech. Thank you.
Actually, yes. When he killed people, when he killed Jews, that had nothing to do with freedom of speech. You're right. But what I'm talking about, when he gave his speeches, if you know Adolf Hitler and you know how he started, you'll know that he started with giving some speeches. I'm talking about these speeches when he wasn't so popular, when he didn't have the power to, so people listen to him. So at this period of time, when he gave some speeches that that people knew that they could harm the country, the government should have stopped them. That's the point. After that, of course, you cannot stop him. You cannot stop him, and it wasn't about freedom of speech. But I'm talking about his beginnings.
And what is the relationship nowadays with this example that I'm bringing with this particular candidate of the US presidency? You have to remember that he has declared several times that he will bomb Middle East, that he is going to bring war to all that part of the world. He is going to build a wall all along of our border. Thus, a xenophobic and racist speeches can lead to harm several people and several relationships. If you build this wall, for example, in our particular example, all the border of Mexico, that will damage all the relationships, the commercial relationships that are in place right now with the United States and Canada. And that will damage millions of people, and millions of people will lose their jobs because of these kind of actions. Only because one guy is saying whatever that he wants to say. So that's the reason that we want to be restricted in that manner, right? We're talking about people all around the world. We have people all around here, and you can ask them how they have felt about these particular racist declarations about want to be probably the president of the United States.
Okay, we have time for one more question, if you have one.
For the team about the protecting the freedom of speech, you said freedom of speech is one of the human rights.
Yes, so.
How to respect the rights of a person who doesn't respect the rights from others?
Actually, what we said is each person has the right to say whatever he wants. So if you say whatever he wants, that's mean now you have your right to say whatever you want. The other side also have the right to say whatever he wants against you, or for example, if you're insulting him, he has the right to sue you and you could go to jail. For example, for some people had talked about McDonald's, you know, it's a famous restaurant, about how bad is it. It's freedom of speech. But when it affected their job, they sued the one who talked about them, and they got money from that.
Yeah. Compensation.
I don't think if that doesn't affect your job and just insult you like, as a human, you could ask for if you don't want money, you could ask for a public apology. Yeah, so you have more than right to defend yourself.
All right, now you can clap. Thank you very much. That's the end of the debate. Okay, so will you please vote? Can I please have your votes? How do I pause this? Oh my God. Okay.